The Trump regime has long been a sinking ship, and with a rat like Donald at the helm, it's not really surprising. But the sinking is accelerating because even with full control of the government, Republicans are resigning and even more are threatening to. Worse, Donald's nominees aren't being confirmed, and his approval ratings are sinking like a rock. On top of all of this, in public appearances, Donald looks increasingly feeble and unhinged and incoherent. And, well, that list could go on forever. Recently, The Atlantic published a piece about how Donald has become isolated and out of touch, which quite frankly doesn't sound like news to me. But anyway, the article says, quote, Donald has dramatically scaled back speeches, public events, and domestic travel compared with the first year of his initial term. And that lack of regular voter contact has contributed to a growing fear among Republicans and White House allies that Donald is too isolated and has become out of touch with what the public wants from its president, unquote. Okay. Donald has never been in touch with what the public wants from a president, or if he has been in touch with that sentiment, he's never cared about it. So, this again is not exactly news. And by the way, if by being in touch with the public means holding way too many rallies, I don't really see how that tracks. I don't see how that translates into Donald's caring what the American people think or want. Now, a better question is, why indeed are Donald's people limiting his contact with the public? Why are they limiting his public appearances? Which I'm sure there are plenty of people out there who would have you remember is quite similar to what happened during Biden's term, at least towards the end. Of course, questions about Donald's physical and mental acuity shouldn't go away. I mean, they still haven't gone away about Joe Biden, and he's not president anymore, last I checked. Over the weekend, Donald bragged to reporters about how great his MRI results were, but he wouldn't or couldn't provide details as to why he underwent the procedure in the first place, or even which part of his body was scanned. Maybe it was his bone spurs. Take a look.
This is a rocky flight. We're going to get out of here before something happens. They asked about my MRI. MRIs are very...
Governor Walz asked you to release the MRI records.
Will you tell us what it was
Governor
for?
Walz, you mean the incompetent governor? So if they want to release it, it's okay with me to release it. It's perfect.
What was the result?
It's like my phone call where I got impeached. It's absolutely perfect. So if you want to hear about it, or if you want to release it, you want to have it released.
Yes,
News Nation, failing News Nation.
No, sir, not failing.
News Nation is doing lousy, by the way. But if you want to have it released, I'll release it.
Please, can you tell us what they were looking at?
For what, releasing?
No. What part of your body was the MRI looking
I
at?
have no idea. It was just an MRI. What part of the body? It wasn't the brain because I took a cognitive test and I aced it. I got a perfect mark, which you would be incapable of doing. Goodbye, everybody. You too.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, sir.
I know I shouldn't care anymore, and it certainly shouldn't surprise me, and it doesn't surprise me exactly. But the fact that that grotesquely rude man is president of the United States is bad. By the way, if you go for an MRI, it's for a very specific reason. This is not something that's done for fun. And if it's paired with a cognitive assessment, a basic cognitive assessment, the kinds of which Donald has taken many times now, that it typically suggests that your physician may be worried about your cognitive abilities. So the fact that he doesn't know which part of his body was given an MRI is alarming in and of itself. The fact that anybody in the White House would have us believe that this is transparency is just another form of gaslighting, because the truth of the matter is we still know absolutely nothing about Donald's health. We don't know why he got an MRI. What we do know is that he did get one. And again, he continues to be asked to take basic cognitive assessment exams, which suggests that there is some concern among his physicians that there's some cognitive impairment. So let's get back to those Republican resignations. Despite having a majority in the House, multiple GOP lawmakers are choosing to step down rather than continue to serve, which is highly unusual when the party has not just a majority in the particular chamber of Congress, but across the board. Because remember, the Republicans are in charge of the entire federal government right now. That's power. Fresh off of Marjorie Taylor Greene's announcement that she plans to leave Congress, Axios reports that another representative is also stepping down. Troy Nehls, a Texas congressman and Donald loyalist, just announced that he'll retire next year. On top of this, Don Bacon, a Nebraska Republican, is also planning to retire. Bacon cited the Trump regime's Russia friendly Ukraine peace plan as his reason for leaving. On MS Now, journalist Hayes Brown analyzed what these resignations might mean for the future of Donald's presidency. Take a look.
The question is, what happens if you have several members exiting at the same time and having that gap where before special election can be held, you have fewer Republicans sitting in the House? One of the biggest problems that the GOP has had since reclaiming the majority is how narrow that majority is. So if you have a lot of lawmakers who feel frustrated, like Marjorie Taylor Greene is, about how little can be done, or also the other lawmakers we've seen, Punchbowl News had an extended quote from one who they said was a senior lawmaker who feels like, what are we doing here if all we're going to be doing is voting on censures against each other or being potted plants?
I read that one.
It was a great quote that I think shows a deep, almost irony to me, though, given how happy you would expect Republicans to be in the House if they have the presidency and they're just getting to sit back and let Trump handle everything and just sort of rubber stamp. The fact that people there are saying, no, we want to work, at least enough to be reelected, and that they're not even getting that is what's really interesting to me.
Well, you can lay that at the feet of Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, who has essentially ceded the power of the House of Representatives to the executive branch. That's all that Republicans in the House do now. They rubber stamp whatever Donald wants. They attack whomever Donald wants them to attack. They aren't really accomplishing anything, and they're just sidelined as Donald and Johnson and others in the Trump regime dismantle our agencies, our institutions, and quite frankly, our democracy. So the weird thing about that actually is that the House of Representatives is actually a democratic institution, which is to say you could have a one-seat majority and you control everything, and still House Republicans are getting ready to flee in droves. But before we go on, spreading the truth is working, which means we have to keep it up. So please like and share this video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Mary Trump Media channel. Donald has also struggled to secure permanent staff members in his own administration. Politico reports that throughout Donald's second term, filling key government positions has been a chaotic nightmare. He's already withdrawn 57 nominations due to poor vetting, internal rivalries, and objections from GOP senators. For instance, Paul Ingrassia, Donald's nominee for office of special counsel chief, dropped out after racist messages surfaced. Ed Martin, his pick for D.C. U.S. Attorney, failed to get confirmed due to his defense of January 6 defendants. And his nominees, Lindsay Halligan and Alina Habba, were both found to be acting as interim U.S. attorneys illegally. This is what happens when time after time after time you continue to nominate unqualified hacks. And if you nominate enough of them, unfortunately, some of them, like Pete Hegseth, Kash Patel, Tulsi Gabbard, and Kristi Noem, the puppy murderer, actually get the positions. On top of all of this, Donald's poll numbers are continuing to tank. Gallup reports that, quote, Donald's job approvals rating has fallen 5 percentage points to 36%, the lowest of his second term, while disapproval has risen to 60%. The latest decline follows 3 months of stability, with 40 to 41% of Americans expressing approval of his handling of the presidency, unquote. My perpetual question, how can that number still be so fucking high? Please take a second and like and share this video. It'd be awesome if you could subscribe to the channel. If you're listening to us in podcast form, please follow us and give the show a 5-star rating because it really does help other people find our content. Thanks.